Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to a very quick discussion about the Prelims 2024 history key. Now, this is Ranganathan SVN Kondala. I teach history at PSC Institutes in Delhi. You can always follow me on YouTube. Just search Real Motivation Monk or even on Instagram at Real Motivation Monk. Now, giving you a very quick overview of how the paper was. Overall, if you see, this was a beautiful paper. In fact, actually, it was somewhere between all the questions, if you observe, they were the paper was between easy to moderate, not really a very difficult paper, and particularly when it comes to history paper, there were 11 questions. In fact, 90% of these questions were easy. In fact, easy to easiest. They were straightforward to the point type of questions. You can easily score a good amount in history. Now let us see the first question for the day. Who was the provisional president of the Constituent Assembly before Dr. Rajendra Prasad took over? Now, as you see, when you study polity, when you study the first chapter in polity, Constituent Assembly, Dr. Sachidananda Sinha is a straightforward answer. There is no guesswork, no smart guess, nothing needed. Kyunki it's talking about provisional president, Constituent Assembly, Rajendra Prasad se pehle, that was Dr. Sachidananda Sinha. He was the first provisional president of the Constituent Assembly. And on the 11th of December 1946, Rajendra Prasad was elected as the permanent chairman of the country's Constituent Assembly with H.C. Mukherjee, Harindra Kumar Mukherjee, as the assistant chairman. Now, reference for this particular question would be your Lakshmikant book or India After Independence. The second question, with reference to Government of India 1935, consider the following statements. It provided for the establishment of an all India federation based on the union of British Indian provinces and princely states. Definitely this was a provision. This you know when you study Bipin Chandra's India Struggle for Independence textbook. Defense and foreign affairs were kept under the control of the federal legislature. Ye galat hai. This is wrong. Defense and foreign relations and the control of the British Army were kept still under the Governor General's office. So the answer would be, since it's asking which of the following statements is or are correct, you will be only one is correct. Answer will be A. The British government, in the person of Secretary of State for India, through the Governor General of India, which was to be created, Governor General of India would continue to control India's financial obligations, defense, foreign affairs, and British Indian Army, and would also make the key appointments to Reserve Bank of India. That is what was mentioned in the Government of India Act 1935. Now, third question, straightforward question, very easy question. Which of the following is the work attributed to the playwright Bhasa? Now, Natya Shastra will definitely not be the answer because it is Bharata Muni, Natya Shastra. I tell this continuously in art and culture classes of mine. You can always check the art and culture classes in my YouTube classes. Mahabhasya, Patanjali, we talk about this when we discuss Gupta in the classes. Okay. And the answer would be Madhyama Vyayoga. It's actually a Sanskrit play written by Bhasa, a very famous Sanskrit, right? In fact, Kavya Lankara was a book written by Bhamaha. Okay. So the answer is C. 13th question, answer is C. Now, next, fourth question. Sanghabhuti, an Indian Buddhist monk who traveled to China at the end of the 4th century AD, was the author of commentary on. Now, Sanghabhuti ke bare mein you actually study when you study Guptas as well, the contributions of Gupta's Buddhism and Gupta's association. It was Sarvastivada Vinaya. That is basically the answer. Prajna Paramita Sutra is basically, I mean, these are principles which are to be followed by Mahayana Buddhists. So that's why it's not actually a book, not a commentary author. Lalita Vistara is also a Mahayana textbook, Mahayana book. Sanskrit Buddhist sutra tells the story of Gautam Buddha at the time of his descent from Tushita until the first sermon at the Deer Park in Sarnath. Now, Sanghabhuti wrote a commentary on Sarvastivada Vinaya. Prajnaparamita Sutras are basically principles which they follow. So that's why the answer is C. Now, this question, consider the following properties included in the World Heritage List by UNESCO. Shantiniketan, Rani Ki Vav, Sacred Ensembles of Orissa, and Mahabodhi Temple Complex at Bodh Gaya. Yahan tak you will find the answer like, yeah, I know everything, all of these are right. But the question has a trick. How many of the above properties were included in 2023? So they are specifically asking for 2023. In 2023, the ensembles, sacred ensembles of Hoysala and Shantiniketan were included. 2023, that's where the trick of the question is. So it's two. Only two. The answer is only two. So the answer is answer B. Only two. Shantiniketan and sacred ensembles of Hoysala. Now, next question. With reference to ancient India, Gautam Buddha was generally known by which of the following epithets? Now, this question is coming directly from my Buddhism classes across the institutes where I teach. I keep telling you, Mahavira is known as Nagata Nayaputta, whereas Buddha is also called Sakya Muni. Once he attained salvation, because Buddha belonged to the Sakya Kshatriya clan, his disciples, Kaundinya and Tampusa, started calling him Sakyamuni. And since once he got the enlightenment, he became the path shower to the people. He came to be known as Tatgata. Tata means path, Gatha. So that's why the answer is 2 and 3. Mahavira is known as Nigata Nayaputta, which I keep telling in the class when I discuss Mahavir, Buddhism and Jainism. Now, we need to match the following. Which of the following rows is given information correctly? Chandraketugad is actually a site in West Bengal, 24 Pargana district. In 24 Pargana district, Chandraketugad is there. So that's why this is not an option. So option 1 is eliminated. 1 is gone. Now, Inamgaon, Maharashtra, Chalcolithic site. Mangadu is actually a site in Kerala, megalithic site. Now, there is also a site of Mangadu in near Chennai. But here, given the options which are there, option 2 and 3 is correct, because Salihundam in Andhra Pradesh is actually a Buddhist site, not a rock cut cave shrine. It's actually a Buddhist site. Buddhist stupa is there. The Salihundam stupa in Andhra Pradesh. So this matching is not correct. This matching is not correct. The only options available is 2 and 3. Mangadu, Kerala, megalithic site. When you study megalithic architectures and megalithic cultures, you see a little megalithic settlement like this. Megalithic burial site in Mangadu. A design like this was actually found in Mangadu. Megalithic burial stone covering. That's why the answer is B. Chandraketugad is West Bengal. Inamgaon, yes, Chalcolithic site in Maharashtra. Mangadu is a megalithic site in Kerala. And Salihundam definitely is a stupa in Andhra Pradesh. Which of the following rulers of medieval India gave permissions to Portuguese to build a fort at Bhaktar? Now, this is a straight question coming from the Sri Krishna Devaraya chapter. Now, Sri Krishna Devaraya gave permissions to Alfonso de Albuquerque. Albuquerque was contemporary governor general or viceroy, governor generals of Portuguese India. He had very good relations with Sri Krishna Devaraya. Answer is A. In the year 1510, he signed. There was a treaty which was signed between Portuguese and the Vijayanagara people. It permitted Albuquerque to construct forts in Bhaktal. Domingo Pais and Barbosa also visited the court of Sri Krishna Devaraya. They do mention about this agreement. And Devaraya also helped Portuguese to conquer Bijapur and Goa in 1510. I keep telling this in my Vijayanagara Samraja classes at UPSC GS. Okay. Now, with reference to the revenue collections by Cornwallis, consider the following statements. Under the Rayatwari settlement of a revenue collection, peasants were exempted from revenue payment in case of bad harvests or natural calamities. Now, when we study the Rayatwari's document, it is clearly mentioned that flooding, drought, which is natural calamities, do not provide any exemptions to peasants in Rayatwari system. So that's why first option is incorrect. Under the permanent settlement of Bengal, the zamindar, if zamindar fails to pay his revenues to the state on or before the fixed date, he would be removed from zamindari system. Yes, this option is right, because the permanent settlement system, zamindar's zamindari or collect ownership of the land was entirely dependent on as long as he is able to repay the revenues or the taxes. So option 2 is correct. Now, given the question is asking which of the following statements these are correct, option 2 will be the answer. Even when agriculture produce was completely or partially destroyed by drought or flooding, the riots were still required to pay for a revenue. Now, Vajiram's yellow book actually gives this statement straight away directly, so you'll be able to answer this straightforward. Consider the following statements. There are no parables in Upanishads. Now, parable basically is a complicated word for you. Parable means didactic discussions. Didactic discussions or dialogue type discussions. Now, there are no parables in Upanishads. Upanishads was composed earlier than Puranas. Among the Upanishads, Keno Upanishad is a didactic book. So, yes, there are parables in Upanishads. So, option 1 is incorrect. So, the only option which are available is option 2. Upanishads were composed earlier than Puranas, somewhere about 700 to 500 BC, around the later Vedic era. Kena Upanishad does have parables. Just I'm giving an example of that. Which of the following was the latest inclusion in intangible cultural heritage of list of UNESCO? Now, since they're asking the latest, this will come from your, you can study this directly from the current affairs magazine recital or the yearly compilations of Ajram. Now, वहाँ पे तो मिल ही जाएगा. The latest in 2023 was Garba dance of Gujarat. Garba, Garba dance of Gujarat, 2023. Now, so these were 11 important questions, 11 questions which actually came out of the prelims 2024. Now, these are the history series of questions. And sometime later, I'm also going to upload the international relations questions, IR questions, topic wise, subject wise. And overall, if you observe, the paper had a substantially large role of static syllabus and standard syllabus rather than there was no much unexpectedness in the paper. Now, this was somewhat similar to what the 2014 paper was about 10 years back. There was straightforward static questions from the book type of questions. So with this paper, I mean, I'm expecting the cutoff to be a decent cutoff, about 50-51%. So you can expect a good, decent cutoff, good amount of competition. Now, static preparation, sticking to the syllabus while preparing for everything seems to be something UPSC is looking at. Now, keep following me, like, subscribe, and follow me on YouTube. Now, you can always click on the bell icon just below this video. You can also follow me on Instagram. I put a lot of videos and information on Instagram, which will definitely be useful for you. Mains UPSC 2025, 2024, and prelims 2025 overall. Okay. Thank you guys. I'll see you in the next video with international relations. Bye bye.